Hey everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Attack Productions. Today I bankrupt joined once again by Nick and Fluff.
Howdy, howdy.
What's up, beautiful people?
And today we got an announcement of our blue cards finally, at least the beginning of it, and it was with the Son Goku deck, the Another World Budokai? Yeah, Budokai. So we're going to kind of get into the leader and the cards that were revealed for today. Starting with the leader, Son Goku. You can't include black battle cards in your deck. Makes sense, and the reason being is because his deck likes to send things to warp and back and forth. Activate main once per turn. You discard 3 blue Another World Budokai cards from your hand, then you draw 3 cards. Awaken when your life is 4 or less, or there are 3 or more Angel Halos in your drop. You may draw 1 card, switch up to one of your energies active mode, and add cards from your life to your hand until you have 6 life left. So at first, reading this on the front side, it gives off a very interesting vibe where it's like, I don't draw on attacks anymore. I just need to cycle cards out. And this is what I think this deck overall is going to be. You want to make sure you see 3 of those, you put those in the drop, because when you awaken, you benefit on those cards being in your drop. So, auto, discard 1 card from your hand. When this card attacks, you draw 1 card. Activate main. This is not limited. You can do this as many times as you want to. You send 2 blue Another World Budokai cards from your drop area to your warp. Add up to 1 Angel Halo from your drop area to your hand. And then it has an activate battle once per turn. Use up to 2 Another World Budokai cards with 5,000 combo power from your warp and a combo, and they get minus 3,000 combo power and have their skills negated for the turn. The benefits to that is that you can do that during your opponent's turn and your turn. And really, it's just initially a 5k combo in the long run because it just takes 1 card to get out or try to deal damage. So initially, you're just doing this just to put cards into your Z energy.
I really wish on the front side of the leader, it had been discard 2, draw 3. And on the back, it'd be discard 1, draw 2. There's really no reason that this leader does not get a +1 in hand advantage every turn, like most other leaders in the game. And I could see that really being a factor in holding this leader back overall. Granted, we haven't seen the rest of the archetype yet, so I can't say for sure if there's going to be some reason in the archetype, but it seems like an overly careful design on Bandai's part that I think is going to overall hold this leader back from being competitively viable.
Yeah, I got 3 things. 1, I kind of agree with Fluff in saying that the draw power is a little wonky, but in playing decks where you do have a lot of search power and filter, that's usually enough, at least from my viewpoint, to make up for that deficit, because you're filtering a lot of the cards you don't want to see, and then being able to put them in your Z energy, I think, is enough to at least keep it on par until we see some type of draw engine. 2, why did they say Another World? It's never been Another World. It's always Other World. That's always bothering. That's going to bother me for the rest of my days. And 3, why the fuck is his hair not Super Saiyan Gold?
I do remember seeing this card when they first announced it in the trailer. I think I was like, kind of looks like Omen Goku almost. That's a good question. I don't know, because he did go Super Saiyan in the fight against Pycon. So it's very interesting that it's not that in this case. I will go into there, like we've said, we haven't seen all the cards yet. We've actually only seen 1 other, actually I think we have seen 2 Another World Budokai cards, but I think the overall engine will be kind of like, possibly if this card is discarded from your hand by leader effect, maybe you can play it, or maybe it has some other effect to those, but like I said, only time will tell when we see those cards. But getting into this Angel Halo that you need potentially 3 in your drop just to awaken, and why would you cycle cards to your warp for the Angel Halo? Well, it's a free blue extra card. Activate battle, limit 1, choose up to 1 of your leader or battle cards, and it gets plus 1,000 power for the battle. Additionally, if you have a mono blue Z battle card in play, the chosen card gets 4,000 power for the battle. That is also an that's also a limit 1. So you can only do that once per battle. There is no draw to this. So going back to the idea with the draw cycle there, where if I were to pitch 3 cards to draw 3 cards, and this is one of those cards I draw, great, I could use this on my attack now, but I gain nothing from that except for going down now on cards, and overall in a turn, I'm losing out on that advantage. Like I said, I want to see what cards we're discarding and see how those will be affected when we discard those cards, or potentially combo. Unless I can't remember, does it say the skills negate it? Yeah, negate their skills. So yeah, I'm just curious what happens when you discard cards and like how did that benefit the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Angel Halo doesn't seem like a lot on its front, but you've got to also kind of remember in certain instances, 1K is no different than 5K offensively.
Correct.
So, you know, if your opponent's leader is 15K and you use this for free and go to 16K, your opponent is at 15K, they still have to waste another card to combo.
And I'm really curious, I would have think, unless the battle cards we're discarding have an overall beneficial effect to that, maybe this should have been a plus 5,000 power if you have a Z battle card. So I'm curious what the balance is going to be there with that as well.
For sure.
Yeah, it seems like they really want this deck to be Z card heavy, or at least utilize Z cards a lot, because it gives the plus boost to that. I mean, it's okay. You need to really see more what the Z cards do first, to see if it's worth it.
So a card that helps you get your Angel Halos where you need them. North Kai, Hear the Cheer. So, Barrier, activate main, once per turn, place up to 1 Angel Halo from your deck to your drop area, then shuffle your deck afterwards. So potentially this is getting you 2 of those into your drop on turn 1, if you definitely start with 1, that way on your swing. Activate main for 1 energy, choose one. Either look through your life and place up to 1 Angel Halo from it to your drop. If you place a card in your drop, add 1 card from the top of your deck to your life, then shuffle your life, which is fantastic, helps keep your life where it needs to be. Then, or you could place up to 1 Angel Halo from your deck to your drop area, then shuffle your deck afterwards. So what I like about this right here, and I think it was Jimmy I was talking about it, who kind of pointed to my direction. There's kind of like a wish element added to it. You do need to do it on turn 2. Unfortunately, you play North Kai turn 1, get it established. It has barriers, so it should be safe. Then on your turn 2, you tap 1 to search your life. Now, I will say, you know how many cards you draw. When you're going through when you activate main on this Kai to look through your deck, don't intentionally look for it, but keep an eye. Like if I saw 2 and I know I'm grabbing 1, there's still 1 more there. Maybe there's still 1 in my life for sure. That way you're not wasting this activate main, because it doesn't say deck and or life. It just says look through your life. Now that is not limited on the active main, so you could potentially do that multiple times and guarantee that you are awakening on turn 2 if you haven't already.
And the leader awaken condition was 3 Angel Halos in drop area, I believe.
Yes.
So you don't have to play 4 of those Angel Halos. You only have to play the 3 to get you awakened. And because this North Kai exists, you're able to search your life on that second activate main to get the, if anywhere in your life, into the drop area. So I really like the fact that this North Kai exists and its design space within this deck.
Yeah, I think it's interesting how the blue decks in the past few sets have been more about the energy manipulation, more about doing other things. And this mechanic seems pretty interesting, like you were referencing with the wish mechanic, being able to peek through the life is something we don't normally see outside of those. So just having that type of knowledge is really nice. I would do that for one.
And so far, kind of going through this deck is reminding me a lot of a hybrid between a wish deck and kind of how Gamma was, where in Gamma you can't incorporate certain cards. And this is kind of go up to our next battle card. SS Son Goku, Another World Blitz. Deflect, Triple Strike, Barrier, Blocker. It's a 6-cost card, but it does have an activate main that allows you only pay 4 blue energy to play this card. If there are no battle cards in your drop area, you get to play this card from your hand. I'm going straight to the activate main before I go into any of the other autos, because I want to go back over to the leader. The leader allows you, like I said, to send 2 blue Another World Budokai cards from your drop area to your warp. So this is how you empty the battle cards from your drop to get them out of there. That way you can play this card for 4 energy, which tells me you can't really play Guy Stealing Trunks in this deck, because if you get that in your drop area, you cannot get rid of that from your drop area, because, unless there's a card that we'll eventually see in this archetype that will allow you to combo those cards.
Yep.
So
pretty unique Pretty unique restriction on that. That's interesting.
So auto, when this card is played, you draw one card. Then you choose up to X of your opponent's battle cards, where X is the number of extra cards in your drop. Place them at the bottom of the owner's deck in any order. It doesn't get past barrier, but it could definitely get past a very wide board, especially if you are playing 3 to 4 of those Angel Halos, incorporating any other blue X cards you could have played by the time you get to this card on the board.
Mm-hmm.
Auto limit 1, at the end of your turn, switch this card to active mode, then switch up to one of your mono blue energies to active mode as well. Limit 1, so if you were to establish 2 because it doesn't have unique, you can, which would be amazing, but only one will be able to restand with that effect.
I really like the idea of this card in other decks that are not this blue deck. So looking at SS4 Vegeta, SS3 Goku Reboot, that go up to 6 energy rather quick, they can just hard cast this guy, restand it. In the case of SS3 Reboot, imagine playing this guy, having a Boo Unison on the field, and then at the end of your turn, restanding 3. So you're going into your opponent's turn with 5 open energy.
Yeah.
For just having this guy on the field with the Boo Unison. And kind of the same thing in Ramp Vegeta, where you could have this guy on the field, you could have the Boo on the field, and then going into your opponent's turn with a minimum of 2 energy open. Seems really strong to me in other decks as well. So even if you're playing a deck that, might not be able to keep battle cards clear out of the drop area and you can't play him for 4, still playing this guy for 6 is not bad.
Yeah, it's going to definitely be teched into those other 2 decks for sure.
Yeah, I like this, especially playing as an opponent playing against this card. Like, if you're thinking in terms of like SS4 Vegeta, like it's going to be a very good like negate bait essentially. Like it's damned if you do, damned if you won't. Do you want to take a triple strike or do you want your opponent to ramp? So it's going to be pretty deadly in other decks. Definitely, I could see this being teched in.
Going into our Z battle cards, we got SS Sun Goku Awaken Onslaught. So for 1 blue energy and 3 Z energy, auto place 1 of your Z energies in the owner's drop area. At the end of your turn, remove this card from the game. Then choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost 5 or less. Place it at the bottom of the owner's deck. Activate main once per turn if your leader card is mono blue and you discard 1 extra card from your hand, draw 1 card, and this card gains crit for the turn. So,
this for 1 energy is not bad. You do have to set up the Z energy, but this has removal that blue sorely lacks in a lot of instances. So for 1 energy, 3 Z energy, you're putting out a 15,000 that can remove a battle card and give itself crit. It's really not that bad.
Now, keep in mind, the removing of battle cards in a turn phase, and if you were to do that, this card is gone, unfortunately, because of that. But a leader that cycles X cards back to their hand for you just to pitch out the activate main and get a draw, so it cycles itself there in that draw, and then you it's not really a cycle because you're adding the card back to your hand from your drop area, then you discard to actually draw a card, and then it's a 15k crit afterwards.
Yep.
Historically, from what I've seen, blue is usually struggles in the early game with pressure. Usually it's just play a card, pass, search a card, you get energy for defense. So you don't really have enough pressure when you're facing against your opponent. Having just a 15k crit body is just, I feel like would be enough to shift the balance of blue to, at least for this deck or blue in general, to more of like a mid-rangey style instead of being more late game, which is nice.
And the last card that was revealed for today's cards was our Unison Vegeta, Another World Warrior. So in Power 3, if this card has 3 or more markers on it, when this card is played, choose it to 1 of your opponent's battle cards and return it to its owner's hand. For a +1, you draw 1 card, then you place 1 card from your hand to the bottom of your deck. Once again, that cycle pattern going on right there. Activate main, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards, place it at the bottom of its owner's deck, then choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards with energy cost 3 or less, ignoring barrier, place it at the bottom of your owner's deck. I don't mind this -4. It gets rid of 2 cards. My only problem with this deck, though, this Unison, is it overall. It's a 6k Unison that has a +1 draw, but you have to immediately put a card at the bottom of your deck. Sure, maybe when we see more of the archetype, this could be very useful. It does have the ability to get rid of other cards, and for 1 energy in Power 3 isn't bad, so you could initially have a unison already established. A decent, in my opinion, you could have the hit unison already established, which just gives you draws without having to get rid of it. It's a 15k beater, but if your opponent has problematic cards, you could pay 1, immediately -4 to deal with those problematic cards, and that's not a bad option there as a tech piece.
Oh, go on.
That was it. It's like, as a tech piece, I feel like removing potentially 1 card on play and then 2 more cards on the -4.
This unison to me just feels really behind the curve in just about every way. Yes, it's a 1 that's got in Power 3 that's going to remove 2 cards if you go ahead and just crack it for the -4, which seems to be really good. But blue traditionally wants their unison to sit on the field for 2 or 3 turns. And if you put out a 1-drop unison that only is 6,000, and then you can only +1 taking it up to 2, it's immediately dead in your opponent's next turn. Like, there's just no way to defend this unison without sacrificing scarce resources in your hand. This should have been either a +2 or it should have been about a 15k. And Bancroft and I were talking about this earlier. There's really no reason not to be playing something like Hit or Zeno over this Vegeta.
And I will put a reminder out there real quick. You can't play God-Stealing Trunks in this deck. You could, but then it kind of shuts a lot of stuff down. Think about that when it comes to unisons in this case. Which ones are more important? Because you can't play a key card that you would normally need.
I just don't see how you accomplish in Power 3 on a 1-drop 6,000 unison that's a +1. Like, you will just never get that in Power 3 off. So to me, if you're going for that in Power 3 and then the crack for the -4, you're playing some other unison to get up to that point to begin with.
I see if you play unison, it's 3 to 4 of another unison and 2 of this one. You play the other unison first, let it build up what gets benefits off. Either be Android 17, 18, because it helps you on the combo step if correct. Once per turn, it gets a marker just for doing that. And then, or you play the hit for the extra draw things. And then if you have, like, say, if your opponent has 3 problematic cards, this will deal with it.
Yeah, it's a blue unison. they've been very hit or miss. Like, some of them are cracked as hell, like Android 17 and 18 or the blue unison, and then you have some that are pretty not great, like this one. I mean, the minus is nice for 1 energy removal, but yeah, like you'll have to have another unison if you wanted to leverage that. I don't see a world where this thing sticks longer than 1 turn.
This will not stick if you just play it for 1 energy and then +1. That's 2 attacks, it's gone. Like, you have to empower, unfortunately, on this card. But that is today's releases. I hope you all enjoyed that. Keep in mind, there's buttons down below on the screen. We're doing these when we can. But yeah, hope you all enjoyed, and I'll pass off to Fluff.
Yeah, so far, I'm interested to see what Blue is going to offer this set. Really looking forward to PyCon drops coming later in the week. Looking forward to see more what this archetype is going to end up doing, really. I don't want to give a verdict on this archetype. I don't want to say it's going to be bad. There's a lot of stuff that I like that they've showed, and there's a lot of stuff that I'm not thrilled about that they've showed. So as always, read your cards, know your plays, let us make the mistakes so that you don't have to, and fluff out.